From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
And we've returned. So guys, somebody explain to me how world population decline is a bad thing. I know we just did the whole segment. I feel like that's what the creators of the monuments want us to do, right?
Yeah. Well, right now it's crazy because it's an issue of inequality. You know what I mean? Like it's humanity. I've said it before. It's the worst group project ever because you got all the stuff. You could give it to like everyone can be okay. It is a matter of logistics and arguably ideology, but everyone can be okay. A decline in human population, honestly, is better for every other living thing on the planet. Virtually every other living thing.
It needs to happen organically. We don't need to like bring it about with some sort of weird, eugenics virus that we release, or like genetically engineered mosquitoes
or vaccine. Anyway, cough. So,
Mother Nature,
you did not.
If you believe in the Gaia hypothesis, then the planet cooks up its own kind of immune response, right? And we see
yes, exactly. History, oh, we all saw the happening. We know what goes on in those trees.
We all read the Bible. I mean, or most of it, the good bits anyway.
Yes,
the juicy bits.
I was joking there when I said the vaccine. That was a reference to Utopia, by the way. That is not me stating anything about the mRNA virus.
Just making
too late, Doc.
Serum that we all
Doc,
took.
cut it.
Okay,
cut it out of context, Doc. We're keeping just that line.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
the vaccine.
You're going somewhere with this.
I'm going somewhere. So Ben, we talked in that last segment about people who are being responsible and making that choice. Like, I choose to take the actions that will either allow me and my partner, whoever that may be, to have a child or to take on a new child to take care of or not, right? I'll make those choices if I don't want that. Not everybody does that. It doesn't always work out that way exactly, but there are things that humanity has invented in a pretty awesome fashion that can assist us in making those decisions if we want to have offspring at this very moment or not. Because as we also talked about, people like to get it on often with other people.
Make love?
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure.
The beast with two backs?
Yes, at least two. And there, and historically, humanity has put it on those with ovaries to be the ones who actually have to take action to prevent pregnancy from occurring if intercourse is also happening, right?
Can I just say that? Can I just say, we say humanity, let's be, we're talking the patriarchy.
Sure.
Really, right? The social construct of the patriarchy.
Yes, we'll give the pills that are hormonal in nature that do affect the person. We'll give them to those with ovaries. And I'm going to say it like that because I'm going to read from a Smithsonian Magazine article that refers to this new type of birth control we're going to describe as for those with testes. I think that's a really interesting way to refer to it as. So here it comes.
Ooh, you naughty boy.
Okay, here we go. The title is Male Birth Control Pill Expected to Start Human Trials This Year. Subtitle, The New Hormonal Pill Was 99% Effective at Preventing Pregnancy in Mice. It's written by Corinne Wetzel. It was posted on March 25th, 2022. And it describes a brand new pill that is being tested, which is non-hormonal and is meant to be taken by males, biological males, those who have testes, to prevent sperm production. And it's really to stymie sperm production, to lower it to levels where that person is effectively sterile while they are taking the pill. The pill allegedly, at least in the trials on mice, after it is not given, or if you're not taking the dose for about 6 weeks, that subject, that male, is now as virile as they were prior to taking the pill ever in the first place, so they can then sire babies. If this does work on humans, this would be an amazing alternative for everyone who has ever, I don't know, any woman who's ever been on birth control, any person who's ever used a condom before, any person who's ever had sex and didn't want to get pregnant and used whatever method. This could be amazing because it would not only put the responsibility in those with testes hands, but it would the fact that it's non-hormonal means it's not going to disrupt the human in ways that current pregnancy prevention does, if that makes sense to you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
And it's also reversible. So it's something like you could say, a lot of people with testes may balk at the idea of undergoing a surgical procedure like a vasectomy, right? Because which is
also reversible, but terrifying,
much more difficult to reverse. That's
difficult to reverse, and it is possible that there can be problems in both the initial vasectomy and a reversal, or you continue down the line of getting it done and then replaced.
Continue down the
anybody colloquially referring to getting snipped is just not, that doesn't do it.
It feels a little casual.
Recoil in horror.
Feels a little casual. If it's someone who's received vasectomy saying that, then I'm like, all right, you earned it. You can be glib about it. But if you're talking with a doctor and they're like, well, just get the old snip, I would be like, you're a kind of a little casual for a doctor. But Matt, like these are still trials. So it's important for us to say, like, it's not something you can buy at your local Dwayne Reed or Crocodile Boot store today. But do they have any idea about when this might see the light? Like what kind of regulatory and testing hurdles does it have to go through? I imagine they're pretty extensive. Are they at human testing yet?
They're going into human testing this year. So clinical trials are going to begin.
Or human testes.
The testes will be tested. Yes.
The human testes.
Matt, you're bearing the lead here, though. The twist is you have to take it by shoving it directly into your pee hole.
No,
that's called sounding. That's a real thing. It's called sounding.
Nothing to do with this.
Just kidding.
For the record, to each their own. But I know about
it's
that.
It's just too good to be true. There has to be some sort of horrible.
Wait, is that real?
Effect.
Sounding is a real thing. The application of this is not. That's the joke.
I was
okay.
But the idea is like it's a substance you consume orally, the way you would take a birth control pill.
Yes, precisely, exactly. And my understanding of it, at least as of this moment, it hasn't been packaged. It hasn't been shown as like, this is how you take it. Where in many of the standard birth control pills that are available for women right now include that 1 week of sugar pills.
Placebo.
Because again, it is a hormonal cycle that anyone who begins birth control gets on the moment that you begin taking it.
Isn't that a positive feature of birth control, that it regulates menstrual cycles? Like I've heard it described as like something that's like good because it makes it more predictable.
This is not for me to describe. Is there anyone listening that has an opinion on birth control?
Oh, yeah. I think that's the best way to do
nope,
it, because
I guess not.
Well, we can't speak. The three of us can't speak from an area of expertise, right? We can only speak at best secondhand. We're not even OBGYNs. So we can delve in and research statistics or something like that. But I haven't done that yet for this. It is worth hearing, but we also really love to hear experiential wisdom from people who have done this, different, because there are multitudes of different forms of birth control. There are also, there are a lot of resources out there. I'd like to shout out Stuff Mom Never Told You. They've done some great work on this, as well as friends of the show, Kristen and Caroline, the host of a non-iHeart podcast called Unladylike. So if you want more information about birth control for those with ovaries in particular, do check that out. And I know that's awkward phrasing.
I just wanted to see if Doc Holliday was going to jump in.
I know.
I think we were all waiting for that, but it was crickets.
Actually, I will jump in.
Oh, awesome.
And I actually think that's a really valid point, because like a lot of people don't know this, and they automatically associate some of the more, conservative or like puritanical types associate birth control with promiscuity or like women trying to do something they're not supposed to be doing. But a lot of women get prescribed birth control for purely medical reasons, like menstrual regulation, like you said, Noel, and also like pain as it relates to like various diseases or conditions. So yeah, there's definitely way more reasons than just birth control for women to take birth control pills.
Boom.
Doc Holliday.
Drop the mic.
Fellow gets
Doc
Doc
Holliday.
classing up the place.
I wonder though, like, I mean, obviously it's in trial still. If there will be some unforeseen side effect, whether positive or negative, associated with it. Because if it's all good, sure seems like a winner. And putting a little more responsibility on the man, which typically is not the case.
See, we were talking about this off air briefly, and Doc, you, Matt, and I were saying, we were talking a little bit about the story. I remember saying, well, I phrased it as a glass half empty. As a cynical person, I say, well, this feels like another way in which a lot of dudes will be less responsible. And you all would be very nice and positive and saying, well, they'll be more responsible, baby. But I ask you, how many, because they're out there, they're going to be sleazy bad faith actors who are like, yeah, I took my pill earlier today. You can trust me. You know what I mean? Like we met at this Coachella concert. It's meant to be. Like, I can see people do. I think
there's room for that, Ben.
Yeah, but I'm hoping
that's going to happen. You're right.
I'm hoping that still, despite that, I'm hoping that's a minority of people involved in those conversations. And I hope for the most part, it makes things safer. It gives people more personal responsibility and more agency. Seems like the right thing to do, honestly.
There's a minor subplot in the show I May Destroy You, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. One of the best pieces of television I've ever seen in my life, where a character who's having like a one night stand kind of with the main character secretly removes the condom. And it is essentially tantamount to rape. That is its own form of rape. And I never really thought of it that way, but it absolutely makes sense. And you're right, Ben. This could be a very, like, how do you show somebody that you're on the pill? You got to take your word for it. So,
well, yeah, that's a thing, and it's called stealthing, and it's absolutely a form of sexual assault. But also going back to what Ben said, if you meet somebody at Coachella and they're talking to you in that voice, maybe don't believe them.
Okay, I put my thumb on the scale of that example a little bit. I admit I was maybe priming folks for that, but these are excellent points, and it really could, again, we have to say, we talked about this a little bit off air too. Birth control is not it's not going to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases as well. And we don't need a Coachella guy. We don't need to make up a Coachella guy to talk about that part.
Just like Coachella guy. That's his little character. The character just writes itself.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sure it's Bonnaroo Bro you guys are mentioning, but I get it.
There's Bonnaroo Bro and Coachella guy.
Well,
they team up.
Charlie Coachella, and then oh man. Well,
no offense to those organizations or concerts. They're both great.
No, we're not talking about the concert makers. But
one more thing real quick, because I read a long time ago that the reason why they never really went anywhere with male birth control or like a male birth control pill is because of the amount of side effects that women, or people with ovaries, experience. That, men wouldn't be willing to take them, like the nausea and different stuff like that. And so I definitely think that there's something to be said for this responsibility being shared equally. So I do think it's a glass half full thing.
I agree. And I will say there's already a little bit of a weird misogynist backlash popping up already. I saw like Snoop Dogg posted a meme where it was like a dude with like a really big ass, you know, and then it was saying, and it was like, oh, side effects for that male birth control, bro, you know, and it was like,
oh God,
gross. Come on, Snoop Dogg, you're better than that.
Again, I have to reiterate, at least according to the team of scientists who are working at this, who are with the University of Minnesota. There's Dr. Gunda George, PhD, Abdullah Al-Noman, who is a graduate student who's working in that same lab. These are several people who have spoken about this and have spoken with the American Chemical Society. They are saying this is a non-hormonal pill. This will not have the kinds of side effects that the birth control for women currently has, because it is a hormonal pill. This one, if it does function in humans, acts by knocking out listen to this, retinoic acid receptor alpha. This is a protein in a family, quote, of 3 nuclear receptors, which is a form of vitamin A. And I'm just going to read directly from the article here. Quote, knocking out the RARA gene in male mice makes them sterile without any obvious side effects. At least that's what they say, without any obvious side effects. So who knows what possible side effects there will be in humans when those clinical trials get started, because this thing, RARA, it plays a role in cell growth, in differentiation, like cell differentiation, like what a cell ends up becoming. Like a sperm cell or some other type of cell, like a skin cell. So there may be weird side effects we haven't even thought about or considered yet that occur when people are on this pill, but we won't know until the people actually take it and we study those people.
For science. Yeah. And it'll have to be a longitudinal study at some point too, right? Like, is there some sort of damaging side effect that doesn't come out until decades later? And that's not a scare tactic. Don't be scared of this. It's just something, it's part of what good science should be doing. So look for it coming to a Crocodile boot store near you.
Crocodile boots, baby. By the way, it is called.
Sorry, is this a reference? I don't understand what crocodile boots is. I'm just freestyling. Is this like Buc-ee's, like in the Midwest? Is this like a thing with like a chain that I'm not aware of?
I'm just freestyling.
Plaza Fiesta. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
If you want to look it up, it is known as a non-hormonal male contraceptive, and it is known as, quote, YCT529. That's YCT529. You can look it up. You can read a little more about it, and hopefully we'll be hearing about it in a positive way in several months or maybe a year from now.